Ramesh was a poor farmer, living in a small, quiet village. His house was made of mud, his clothes were worn, and his life was nothing but a daily struggle. Every morning felt the same. Wake up, work hard, and still go to bed with worry in his heart. But even in all this hardship, he had one reason to keep going, one small light in his dark life: a cow. Her name was Gauri. Gauri wasn't just an animal to him, she was family. Every morning, before the sun even rose, Ramesh would gently place his head on her head and whisper softly, "You're all I have." And somehow, in that silent moment, it felt like she understood. Gauri gave milk every day. That milk was Ramesh's only source of income. With it, he bought food, paid small debts, and somehow survived. Life was still hard, but as long as Gauri was with him, he never felt completely alone. But then, one year, everything changed. The rains didn't come. Days passed, then weeks, but the sky remained empty. The land began to crack, crops failed, and the village slowly turned into a place filled with silence and hunger. People started leaving their homes, hoping to find work in distant cities. Some never came back. Ramesh stayed. He still had hope, but hope doesn't fill an empty stomach. As days turned into weeks, food became scarce. Ramesh began skipping meals, pretending he wasn't hungry, just so Gauri could eat. He would place the last handful of dry grass in front of her and say with a weak smile, "You eat. If you stay strong, we'll survive." But even Gauri was getting weaker. Her milk reduced, then almost stopped. And with that, Ramesh's only income disappeared. Now, hunger wasn't just pain, it was fear. One cold night, Ramesh sat outside his house, staring at the empty sky. His stomach growled, his body felt weak, and his eyes were filled with helplessness. And for the first time in his life, a terrifying thought entered his mind. What if I sell Gauri? He froze. No, I can't do that. She's my only support, my family, he whispered to himself, but reality was cruel. If you don't, you might not survive. That night, he didn't sleep. He just sat there, fighting with his own heart. The next morning, with trembling hands and a heavy heart, Ramesh picked up a rope. His eyes were already filled with tears as he gently tied it around Gauri's neck. Gauri looked at him, quietly. Her innocent eyes were filled with trust, but also confusion. It was as if she could feel something was wrong. Ramesh couldn't look at her. "I'm sorry," he whispered, his voice breaking. Step by step, slowly, painfully, he walked towards the market. Every step felt heavier than the last. The market was crowded. Farmers were selling their animals in desperation. Voices, bargaining, noise. But for Ramesh, everything felt distant, muted, like a dream he didn't want to be in. A rich trader approached him. "How much for this cow?" he asked casually. Ramesh hesitated. His lips trembled. "This is not just a cow," his heart screamed. But hunger doesn't listen to emotions. 5,000, he said softly. The trader smirked. "She's weak. I'll give you 3. Ramesh's heart shattered, but he had no choice. He nodded. The deal was done. As the trader grabbed the rope and began pulling Gauri away, something unexpected happened. Gauri stopped. She didn't move. Instead, she slowly turned her head back and looked straight at Ramesh. That one look, it was enough to break him completely. Her eyes weren't just eyes anymore. They were filled with pain, trust, and a silent question. "Why are you leaving me?" Tears rolled down Ramesh's face. His chest felt tight, his legs weak. For a moment, he wanted to run,
to stop everything, to take her back, but he didn't. He just stood there, frozen, watching her being taken away until she disappeared. With the money in his hands, Ramesh bought food. After many days, he ate properly. But something felt wrong. The food had no taste. The house felt empty. The silence was unbearable. Days passed. Then suddenly the rains came. Heavy rains. The dry land came back to life. Green fields began to appear again. Farmers returned to their work. Hope filled the air once more. Ramesh tried to move on. He worked in the fields again. But now, there was no Gauri, no milk, no support. One day, he overheard villagers talking. That trader's cow gives so much milk. Wherever he keeps it, the land becomes more fertile. That cow is lucky. Ramesh's heart skipped a beat. No, it can't be. The next day, he ran to the trader's house. And there she was, Gauri. Healthy, strong, glowing. The land around her was greener than anywhere else. Ramesh's eyes filled with tears. Gauri, he called softly. The moment she heard his voice, she turned. And then, she ran towards him, without hesitation, without doubt, as if she had been waiting for him. Ramesh hugged her tightly, crying like a child. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The trader came out, irritated. What are you doing here? That's my cow, Ramesh said, his voice shaking. I sold her, but I want her back. I'll return your money. Please, she's my family.
He begged, but the trader refused. That day, Ramesh walked back home, slowly, empty. Not because he lost money, but because he lost something priceless. He sat outside his house again, staring at the sky. But this time, he understood the truth. In trying to survive one moment of hardship, he had lost something that could have changed his entire life. From that day on, Ramesh worked harder than ever. But deep inside, there was always a pain, a regret that never left him. Not because he was poor, but because he let go of something that truly mattered.
Sometimes, the hardest choices we make to survive today become the deepest regrets of tomorrow.